And so was national political reporter Jeffrey Goldberg, correct?
I don't know that.
Yes, you do. Director Ratcliffe, this was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error.
This is not a routine hearing. This is a United States senator confronting Trump's CIA director over a military discussion that somehow included a national political reporter. The vice president was there. The secretary of defense was there. Trump's national security team was there. And when Jon Ossoff asked John Ratcliffe to explain what happened, the director of the CIA suddenly could not remember. He could not remember the warnings. He could not remember the disagreements. He could not remember the messages he personally received. But this is not confusion. This is evasion. Because the moment Ratcliffe admits what was inside that chat, the entire defense collapses.
Okay, well, he was a member of the signal chain, and the discussion included the vice president's private opinion on the wisdom of proposed U.S. strikes in Yemen, correct?
I don't recall.
Vance, quote, "I think we are making a mistake. I am not sure the president is aware of how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There was a strong argument for delaying this a month." You don't recall?
I don't. As you
don't recall seeing that?
Read that? I don't.
It included the private opinions of the Secretary of Defense on the timing of strikes in Yemen, correct?
I don't recall.
Director Ratcliffe, surely you prepared for this hearing today. You were part of a group of principals, senior echelons of the U.S. government, in now a widely publicized breach of sensitive information. You don't recall whether the vice president opined on the wisdom of the strikes? That's your testimony today under oath?
In that setting, I don't recall.
Here's what Secretary Hegseth said, quote, "Waiting a few weeks or months does not fundamentally change the calculus. Two immediate risks on waiting. One, this leaks and we look indecisive. Two, Israel takes an action first or Gaza ceasefire falls apart and we don't get to start this on our own terms." Your testimony is you don't recall the Secretary of Defense sending that message or reading it?
I recall there being an exchange. I don't recall the specifics as you're reading it.
Well, let's put it this way, Director Ratcliffe, a discussion by senior U.S. officials on the timing and risks of a proposed military campaign and disagreements between the president and the vice president about U.S. plans and intentions would be of obvious interest to foreign intelligence services, would it not?
Yes.
And they were discussing the timing of sending U.S. air crews into enemy airspace where they faced an air defense threat, correct?
I'm going to, Senator, defer to the other principles that you're referring to about what the meaning and the context of what they were
talking about the timing of...
There it is. After nearly 2 minutes of "I don't recall," Ratcliffe finally admits the one fact he could not escape. Foreign intelligence services would want this information. That is the contradiction. He wants the public to believe this was harmless, but he admits America's enemies would consider it valuable. He wants the public to believe he cannot remember the conversation, but he remembers enough to defend the people who created it. He wants to debate technical labels. Ossoff is talking about consequences. Senior officials discussed the timing of military action. They discussed internal disagreement. They discussed political risks. They discussed when American aircraft would enter hostile airspace, and a reporter was inside the room. Not a secure room, not a classified briefing, a signal group. Then Ratcliffe tries another escape. He says other officials should explain the meaning and context, but the question was not complicated. Were they discussing the timing of American airstrikes? That answer matters because timing is not an abstract detail. Timing tells an adversary when to prepare, when to activate defenses, when American pilots may be exposed. Ratcliffe knows that. He ran the entire American intelligence community. Now he runs the CIA, and yet under oath, he pretends he cannot connect the timing of an attack to the danger facing the crews carrying it out. So Ossoff does what Ratcliffe was hoping he would not do. He turns to the general responsible for America's signals intelligence. He removes the politics. He removes the excuses. And he asks the question as a matter of military reality. This is where the defense disintegrates.
And about the timing of U.S. airstrikes, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and therefore the timing of sending U.S. air crews into hostile airspace, correct?
Yes.
And therefore the time period during which enemy air defenses could target U.S. air crews flying in enemy airspace, correct?
I don't know that.
You do know that. Let me ask this question, General Hawk. You lead America's signals intelligence collection. Would the private deliberation of foreign senior officials about the wisdom and timing of potential military action be a collection priority for you and the U.S. intelligence community?
Senator, it's our job to do indications and warning for both the plans and intentions of adversary leaders and for military commanders.
And would not information about the timing of airstrikes allow a military to pre-position or cue air defense systems to shoot down enemy aircraft?
I think, Senator, from our perspective, any advance warning is something that we certainly are trying to protect.
Yeah. Director Ratcliffe, this was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
A national political...
Hold on.
No, you
Let me answer.
No, Director Ratcliffe, I asked you a yes or no question, and now you'll hold on. A national political reporter
you can characterize it how you want.
Was made privy
the White
to
House
sensitive information about imminent military operations against a foreign terrorist organization.
Mistake of adding a reporter.
And that wasn't a huge mistake? That wasn't a huge mistake?
Well, I think they characterize it as a mistake.
This is an embarrassment. This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error. And by the way, we will get the full transcript of this chain, and your testimony will be measured carefully against its content. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That was the verdict. The general responsible for signals intelligence confirmed that advance warning is exactly what America works to protect. Ratcliffe confirmed they discussed the timing of the strikes. He confirmed that meant the timing of American crews entering hostile airspace. But when Ossoff asked him to acknowledge the obvious, that exposing this discussion was a massive mistake, Ratcliffe said no. Not because the evidence was unclear, because admitting the truth would mean admitting that Trump's national security team failed at the most basic responsibility of government, protecting sensitive military information and the Americans placed in danger by it. So they renamed it. Not a security failure, an embarrassment. Not reckless behavior, a messaging problem. Not accountability. Damage control, that is what loyalty does inside this administration. It forces officials to defend the indefensible. It forces intelligence leaders to pretend they do not understand intelligence. It turns obvious facts into questions they suddenly cannot answer. And Ossoff exposed every step of it. He did not need to shout. He used Ratcliffe's own admissions against him. Yes, foreign intelligence would want the information. Yes, the chat discussed strike timing. Yes, advance warning must be protected. No, Ratcliffe still would not call it a huge mistake. That is not leadership. That is a cover-up conducted in plain sight. And now there is a transcript. There is sworn testimony, and there is nowhere left to hide. They risked the mission, then they defended themselves.